In the world of science, nothing is more important than truth. Truth is the foundation upon which we build the future. I am Adam, 50, a research engineer who created an algorithm that changed the world. But that truth became my greatest lie. I worked at AuraTech, the major tech company my father, Robert, founded 30 years ago.
He was a genius. For him, AuraTech was his legacy. I was his right hand. 15 years ago, I developed the Core 7 algorithm, which managed everything from logistics to medical devices, promising billions. A month before the final launch, I found a defect, a tiny flaw that, under extremely rare circumstances, could lead to a catastrophic system failure.
I tried to tell my father, but he was hospitalized with terminal cancer. His days were numbered. When I visited, he spoke only of the Core 7 launch. "Adam," he pleaded, "this is our salvation. If we launch, the company survives. If you find a problem, the company collapses, and I won't survive that. You must protect AuraTech." I looked at my dying father. I knew if I revealed the defect, his life's work would instantly lose all investment and crumble. I couldn't destroy his dream. I signed a false safety report, claiming Core 7 was flawless. I lied. I promised myself I would fix the defect once we had the funds. AuraTech soared. My father died 3 months later, peaceful in the knowledge his company was a world leader. I became CEO, the guardian of his legacy and his lie. I tried to fix the defect, but Core 7 was too integrated. 15 years later, my son, Ethan, a brilliant young researcher, joined AuraTech. Unknowingly, he began analyzing old algorithms. He found my 15-year-old sin, the code anomaly. He was ready to announce it to the world. I had to stop him. The lie had come home.
The first thing I did was try to block his server access. I, the CEO, stormed into our most secure lab like a thief. Ethan sat facing the monitor, where my 15-year-old error glowed brightly. He looked at me with undisguised excitement, thinking we had made a new discovery together.
"Dad, you won't believe it! I found why Core 7 sometimes overloads. It's a flaw in the algorithm itself. It could cause a catastrophic failure, but we can fix it. I'm preparing a report to release in 48 hours. It'll be the biggest recall in history, but we'll save millions of users."
His eyes burned with the truth I had buried to protect him. He didn't understand this report wouldn't save users, it would destroy him. Exposing a 15-year-old critical defect meant a criminal investigation, fraud charges, and worst of all, the death of AuraTech. I tried to stop him. I used my authority as a father and CEO. I told him his calculations were wrong, that he was too young, and that he didn't understand the architecture. "Delete those files immediately, Ethan. This is company property. We will deal with this. It is not your concern." For the first time, Ethan disobeyed me. "It is my concern, Dad. It's the truth. You taught me that scientific truth is above commerce." He was furious. He locked his computer and vowed to release the report after double-checking. My own son was now my most dangerous enemy. I called an emergency board meeting. I couldn't tell them about the defect, but I claimed a rogue researcher was attempting sabotage. The board, swimming in Core 7 billions, immediately sided with the company. They gave me carte blanche. "Stop him, Adam. By any means, you must protect your father's company." The plan formed instantly. To discredit Ethan's report, I had to discredit Ethan. If I publicly labeled him incompetent, his report would lose weight. But that wasn't enough. To prevent a criminal investigation, I had to portray him as someone incapable of rational thought. In the company archives was an old record. As a teen, Ethan suffered a nervous breakdown due to academic pressure and took mild sedatives. I had access to his old medical files. I realized I had to fabricate evidence that Ethan had relapsed, hadn't slept for days, and his discovery was the result of hallucinations caused by stress and medication. I began the process. I contacted my former colleague, the psychiatrist who once treated Ethan. I offered him a deal: secretly resume Ethan's treatment and add fabricated data about a relapse to his reports. I used my power and influence to force a man of integrity to lie. My 15-year-old lie, which saved a dying father, was now forcing me to destroy my own son. Pressuring my former colleague, Dr. Langdon, was the dirtiest work I had ever done. Langdon was a man of integrity. He did not want to participate in the fabrication. "You want me to forge medical records, Adam? Your own son's data? This is the end of my career and the end of my oath," he yelled at me. I was the CEO, and I was a father trying to protect his legacy. I used every lever: financial pressure, threats to cut off AuraTech funding for his clinic, and even a hint at publishing old compromising data about his professional error. Langdon finally broke. He promised to fabricate the necessary reports, confirming that Ethan suffered from paranoid hallucinations caused by stress. These documents were due on the board's desk tomorrow morning to silence my son forever. I felt disgust for myself, but I believed I had no choice. I decided to make one last attempt at reconciliation. I invited Ethan to dinner at our favorite restaurant. I hoped I could convince him to abandon the report without resorting to forgery. Ethan was reserved, but at one point, he looked at me with genuine pain.
Dad, you always taught me to be honest. You said an engineer's honor is the safety of his code. If I stay silent, it means I'm betraying everything you taught me. Why can't you see that I am acting like you? His words struck me harder than any threat from the board.
He was right. He was my pure replica. I wanted to tell him, "Son, I'm lying to protect you from the scandal I started." But I couldn't. Confession meant prison for me and the destruction of AuraTech. We left without reconciling. I let him know he would face the company if he published. That same night, as I prepared for the meeting, my phone rang. An emergency call from the control center. "Adam, Core 7 failure. A major transport hub. The control system went down and a chain collision occurred." News flashes confirmed. 18-wheeler trucks had crashed on an automated highway. There were casualties.
My 15-year-old flaw, which I dismissed as theoretical, was now reality. It had killed people. My lie, made for a dying father, caused the death of the innocent. I grabbed the folder with Langdon's reports, the ones meant to destroy Ethan. I called Langdon to cancel our plan, but he said he had already sent the reports to the board. My plan to destroy my son was launched. The board meeting was gripped by panic. The highway catastrophe was global news. All eyes were on me, the CEO, the guardian of Core 7. They expected protection, not the truth. "Adam, what happened? Is it Core 7? The chairman demanded. I stood between the truth, which would cost me my freedom, and the lie, which cost innocent lives. I chose the worst option to save AuraTech, the lie directed at my own son. "Gentlemen," I said with a practiced, cold voice, "this is not a Core 7 error. It is sabotage caused by human factors." I handed him Dr. Langdon's reports. The documents I had fabricated claimed that Ethan was suffering from a stress-induced psychic breakdown and old illness relapse. I asserted Ethan had deliberately submitted false data on Core 7, and his discovery was a product of his sick imagination.
The board sighed with relief. They had their scapegoat. They voted to immediately fire Ethan, transfer his case to internal security, and launch a media campaign to discredit him. They began destroying my son, using my lie.
Ethan found out hours later. I met him as he left the lab, carrying a box of his belongings. He was devastated. "Dad? You did this? You made me look insane? You needed the truth, and you chose to destroy me instead?"
I tried to explain, I'm doing this for you. If I tell the truth, it's a criminal investigation. You'll be implicated because you knew about the defect and were part of the company. No, he said, you did this for Grandpa, for his company. You chose the memory of a dead man over the honor of a living son.
He threw the box. His eyes, which once burned with scientific truth, were now filled with icy contempt. "You're not a protector. You're a coward, and you are not my father." He left. I had lost my son.
I looked at the news. Investigators were closing in on Core 7. I had a few hours left. I could continue my lie, let Ethan become the victim, and save my father's legacy. I called Dr. Langdon. He was desperate. "They want me under oath. I can't lie, Adam. I can't go through with it."
The moment of truth arrived. I realized that by saving AuraTech, I had not only killed the memory of my father, but also shattered my family. And my lie would continue to kill people. I drove not to the board's emergency press conference, but to the Federal Safety Commission.
I walked in and sat before the investigators. "My name is Adam. I am the CEO of AuraTech. I am here to give a full confession. 15 years ago, I signed a false safety report for Core 7. The defect that caused the highway catastrophe was known to me from the beginning. My son is innocent. I am guilty." My confession lasted 12 hours. When I walked out, I was a criminal, but I was free from the lie.
My confession was the final nail in AuraTech's coffin. It resulted in the largest system recall in history, criminal cases against the board, and billion-dollar lawsuits. I myself destroyed the company my father built for 30 years, all to stop the lie I had started.
I served jail time for fraud and concealing critical information. In prison, I finally felt free. Physically locked up, I was free from the necessity of maintaining the facade. Ethan never visited. Our connection was severed. But he did what a true engineer should do. He published his original report, and his work saved lives.
Ethan restored his honor. When he emerged from the shadow of my planned discredit, he founded his own small research firm focused on transparency and code ethics. The most important letter I received in prison was from him. It contained no words of forgiveness, but a fragment of code that could fix the Core 7 defect. I was released, having lost everything: name, money, career. I found humble work, consulting small startups on code safety. I never sought redemption, only wanted my lie to stop killing. One day, I saw Ethan at a conference. He didn't approach me, but he quoted my father: "An engineer's honor is the safety of his code."
He used the words of the grandfather I betrayed to honor the truth I almost destroyed. He hadn't forgiven me, but he accepted the truth for which I paid with my freedom. My dilemma was not saving a father or a son. It was choosing between a comfortable lie and a sacrificial truth. Men, I want you to understand, the price of your silence is not measured in dollars, but in human lives. A lie told for the greater good always turns against you. My dilemma was monstrous. If you were in my place, knowing that revealing the defect would destroy your dying father's legacy, but silence could kill innocence,
Would you have signed the false report? And what would you have done when my lie started killing? Let's discuss this.
If this story about the price of scientific and family betrayal made you think, please hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel to not miss more stories about tough moral dilemmas. Your support helps us release this content.